Alright guys, thanks for coming back to the channel. Again, my name is Nolton. I am a second degree Shotokan black belt out here in Louisiana. First things first, if this is your first time coming in, I would really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button, and I'd also like if you subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel, really helps me bring content to you guys. So today, I'm going to do a reaction video to Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan on martial arts. Full disclosure, I didn't watch too much of it. I kind of want to be just as surprised as everybody else, but I kind of looked a little bit to where they actually are talking about martial arts because in the beginning it's a little bit of more fluff. So I'm just gonna watch, see if I agree, disagree, if I can elaborate more, and without that, let's get on with the video.
Nailed. Someone who tries their hardest but is also honest enough about the circumstances to not cry foul when it's gone the other person's way.
Yeah, well, that's part of resilience. It's right. Like, look,
Yeah.
you're not going to win it. You're not going to score on every shot.
Right.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't take the shots. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try to hit the goal. But part of being able to continue to take shots is to have the strength of character to tolerate the fact that in that instance you weren't on top.
It's more trivial in games than it is in fights. And it's also the response is much more negative to from the fans if you lose a fight and complain about it. It's ruthless.
Alright, so that is absolutely 100% true, whether it's in karate or boxing or MMA. When you are a fighter, there is an expectation of nobility or honor. You're not always going to win, and saying that the other person had this and that, unless the person was just flat out cheating, it will never normally not go well. Again, I teach this to myself, to my own students. Nobody goes to a fight feeling 100%. Nobody's ever at a tournament, in my experiences, where they say I'm at my absolute best. Normally there was something going on the night before, week before, something they could have done better. And that also applies to the person in which you're fighting against. So that's why it's highly frowned upon to be complaining about losing because, well, I didn't get enough sleep, or, oh, this happened, oh, that happened. Odds are it happened to the other fighter too, or something along that lines. So, yes, he is absolutely right. In fighting, it is just preached universally, accept your loss with dignity, just like you would be expected to accept your win with dignity. Let's keep going.
Because they understand that you've made a huge character error.
Yeah, so why do you think it's more important in fights than it is in games? Why do you think it's
Because the
highlighted
consequences
there?
are so grave. Because you recognize that the high is much higher and the lows are much lower. To lose a basketball game sucks, but it's nothing like losing a fight. There's no comparison. It's not even close.
So what do you think it is that damages the fighter if he complains about losing? Why is that a mistake? Why do the fans respond so negatively to that?
Because they know. They know that you lost. They know that you're complaining for no reason and you're not a hero. They want you to be better than them. They want you to be the person that has the courage to step into a cage or a ring or wherever you, whatever the format is you're competing, and to do something that's extremely difficult. And when you do that, they hold you to a higher standard.
Right, to lose with grace.
Yes, and when you fall, especially if you were a champion, that is one of the most disappointing things ever, when a champion complains.
Right.
And it is,
Okay,
response is horrific from the audience.
Okay, so that's a great example. So let's imagine, what does the person who loses something important with grace do? And the answer is fairly straightforward. He accepts the defeat and thinks, okay, what is it that I have left to improve that will decrease the possibility of a similar defeat in the future?
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
so what he's doing is, because the great athlete and the great person is not only someone who's exceptionally skilled at what they do, but who's trying to expand their skills at all times.
Yeah.
I agree with everything Jordan Peterson just said. That is the correct way that a martial artist, let alone a champion, should behave. If you lose, nobody likes losing. It is your job and your responsibility to get up, analyze the fight, analyze the things leading up to it, and say, what can I do better? How can I be better? How can I stop this from happening? All right, and again, what they said earlier, losing with dignity, being better. All right, it is very important in martial arts and fighting to have that behavior, especially in karate. Now, I disagree with Joe Rogan on why it's not tolerated. My personal opinion on why losing a fight is so much more detrimental than a team sport is because of what I just said. It's a team sport. Fighting is a one-on-one sport. It's only you. You can only really blame yourself. I mean, you can kind of maybe blame your coach, but you're the one that hired them. So to me, that's why people take losing a boxing match or MMA fight so much more serious because there's nobody else to absorb the blame. It's all on that one person. So that's my opinion on that one. Again, if you don't agree, I would really like to hear why, but that's me giving my 2 cents.
And the attempt to expand their skills at all times is even more important than the fact that they're great to begin with, because the trajectory is so important.
More important in particular to the audience. It's extremely important to
Right.
the audience because you are the person who's competing. You are expecting them to live out this life in a perfect way or in a much more powerful way than you're capable of.
Yes, and so part of that is the skill because they
Yes.
put in the practice, but part of that also is the willingness to push the skill farther into new domains of development with each action. And that's really what people like to watch, right? They don't like to watch a perfect athletic performance. They like to watch a perfect athletic performance that's pushed into the domain of new risk. They want to see both at the same time. You're
Yes.
really good at what you do and you're getting better. Okay, so you lose a match, which is not any indication that you're not good at what you do. You might not be as good as the person who beat you. But if you lose the match and then whine, what you've done is sacrifice the higher order principle of constant improvement of your own skills.
Yes.
Because you should be analyzing the loss and saying, the reason I lost, insofar as it's relevant to this particular time and place, is the insufficiencies I manifested that defeated me. And I need to track those insufficiencies so that I can rectify them in the future. And if I'm blaming it on you or the referees or the situation, then I'm not taking responsibility and I'm not pushing myself forward.
So Jordan Peterson just said a lot of words, but overall, what he's saying is take responsibility, look at where you could use improvement, and don't go around blaming other people because that's just very unprofessional. And overall, I would say Jordan Peterson's kind of hitting that one on the head. Again, he's talking about pushing yourself into new domains. Nobody wants to see perfection. He's kind of right about that one. We do want to see people take risk, especially when you watch a fight. You want to see something entertaining. I mean, that's why we're watching it. All right, it's like any other sport we watch. We watch it for entertainment value, to see people push, to see people reach that exhaustion level and to still keep going. Nobody wants to watch any two people fighting and then the other person just giving up. It just ruins the whole atmosphere. You like to see that indomitable spirit personified when you're watching two people fight. And I believe that's what Jordan Peterson is saying more or less, definitely with way more articulate words. So let's continue.
And so then you also take the meaning out of it. Like one of the things I've been doing on my tour, people are criticizing me to some degree for saying things to people that are obvious. Well, first of all, it's not like I didn't bloody well know they were obvious. When I wrote those
What
rules,
things
the rules in my book, for example, stand up straight with your shoulders back, treat yourself like you're someone responsible for helping. It's like, I know perfectly well that those can be read as cliches. The question is, a cliche, let's say, is something that's so true that it's widely accepted by everyone. Well, but we don't know why it's true anymore. And so the issue that we're talking about here, or the issue of being a good sport, we need to figure out why that's true. And the reason that it's true is that you're trying to push your development farther than you've already developed at every point in time. And now that's the proper moral attitude. So when you see an athletic performance where someone is pushing themselves beyond what they are, you see someone dramatizing the process of proper adaptation. It isn't the skill itself, it's the extension of the skill. And when you see someone acting like a bad sport, then they're sacrificing that. And so they're sacrificing the higher for the lower, and no one likes that. In the fights, it's got to be, see, the question is, that's the thing I can't quite figure out, is why that would be even exaggerated in a fight situation.
All right, so I think I would like to add my opinion on why it's exaggerated. It's from what I've seen, martial arts or fighting in general has just been put on such a pedestal, at least in America, as far as I'm concerned. Like we've all watched the martial arts movies. The title of sensei, which just means teacher, by the way, in Japanese, has just been deified as this very sacrosanct person. And look at me using very big words. But anyway, I think that's the reason why it's so exaggerated because we put that on such a pedestal. I mean, let's talk about Gladiator, for example. I don't know how many people grew up watching it, but I remember watching that movie and just loving it, where he's just fighting these people in the arena and he's fighting with honor. People are trying to cheat, they're trying to rig the game to where he loses, and he never gives in. He always just keeps fighting with honor, and somehow he just comes out on top without disgracing himself, without lowering himself. So it's my opinion that due social reinforcement, probably mostly from movies, and also it's plenty, it's in books too. We have put the idea of two people going at it on a very high pedestal, and it's expected that these people are meant to represent honor and dignity at its fullest. So when you see that, people behaving poorly, people blaming people, people saying, well, they cheated, or I was tired, I hurt my hands, like, big deal. You're expected to perform. If you don't win, then that's it. I mean, I think we've all watched Rocky. I love that movie. I grew up on it. I think it's one of the reasons why I even started martial arts along with the Karate Kid. But he said it himself, okay? It's about seeing how hard you can get knocked and get back up and not blaming other people. And there's a lot of reality in that. So that's my opinion on why we tend to not tolerate it when it comes to fighters so heavily. It's just, again, we have put a lot of stock into it, and there's just a lot of expectations. Um, but other than that, let's keep watching the video.
And you said it's because the stakes are so high.
Yeah, the consequences of victory or defeat, they're just so much greater. There's your health is on the line. It's one of the rare things that you do where
Right.
your health is on the line, your physical health.
Right. So there are more extreme victories and more extreme
Yes,
defeats. And
far
so the
more.
morality that's associated with defeat is more extreme.
Exactly.
Because there's more on the line. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that makes sense.
And
that makes sense.
the way people treat the champions, it's a very different thing. It's the respect and adulation that a champion receives is it's the pinnacle of sports in terms of the love from the audience when someone wins a great fight. There's nothing like it, and this is one of the reasons why these people are willing to put their health on the line, because the high of victory, and it's not just a victory. It's who was it? Who said victory is really the victory over the lesser you. It's the
Right.
victory over.
That's
We finished the video. Overall, I do agree with Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan, but where I disagree is just the reason why we put so much stock in the fighters, as I've said before. Again, I believe it's through just social reinforcement from just video games, movies, and books. We are taught to admire people who get in a ring or who fight for themselves and don't fight dirty. They go by the rules. And we're taught to kind of, well, ridicule people who cheat, who lie, who try to blame others. Like, I can't think of any great examples, but one would probably be just samurai fighting. I think everybody's watched a movie where there's a samurai fight, and you're just kind of taught to respect the fact that these two fighters are about to they're about to go at it with swords. Only one person is going to win, and just having honor and fighting clean, even though that's not always the way. One of the best ways to introduce a bad character or a character that we normally hate in a movie or even a book is to show them doing something disgraceful. And again, what's more disgraceful than cheating in the fight? Cheating in sports. So that's my opinion on it. Overall, I did like it. I think it's a good video. I probably would like to watch the whole podcast. If you guys would like to see me react to more videos, there's a few more about Jordan Peterson martial arts. Leave it in the comments section below. Again, guys, thank you for tuning in. It's a pleasure, and I'll see you all in the next one.